Hello, welcome to Tarot and Attachment. My name is Erin Smith. I am a professional tarot reader and an associate marriage and family therapist in the state of California. And this is the new moon reading. We are going to be having a new moon in the sign of Virgo. It also happens to be a solar eclipse. And the second new moon in a month that is occurring in the sign of Virgo. So we had one at the beginning of the month in the very earliest degree of Virgo. And now we are having it on Sunday, the 21st, occurring in the final degrees of Virgo. So this is also occurring, this is the eclipse season. The full moon was a lunar eclipse, and this new moon will be a solar eclipse. And eclipses typically bring about, archetypally, they represent periods of great change. And I think it is safe to say that we have been experiencing a lot of upheaval. There's been a tremendous amount of unrest occurring throughout the world. And so I am interested in looking at what themes might be happening around this time in regards to this final new moon in Virgo, and what we should be looking out for, what would be helpful for us to know or understand in order to navigate these turbulent times in a skillful way. So I'm going to concentrate while I shuffle, and I will be with you momentarily. I'm going to say a prayer over these cards. So certainly what is being reflected here in the archetypal imagery of the tarot is pointing to civil unrest, discord, infighting, turbulent energies that are acting at cross purposes. You know, wands typically relate to life force energy and the element of fire. So there's a lot of heat, passion. And of course, passion can be harnessed for productivity, for, you know, garnering inspiration in order to take right action. But certainly when passions are high and people are not practicing wise discernment with the mind, these passions can be violent and cause considerable conflict. And so it is important to be aware of, you know, stepping, first of all, just tracking that within yourself. Noticing, check, you know, as we are, you know, coming in contact with all of these events that are happening in the news and likely in your personal life as well. Certainly, this has not been an easy time, this eclipse season for myself personally. So it's important for us first to check in with ourselves as we are witnessing things that are, you know, distressing out in the world. How are we feeling? Because the ability to ground in times of turbulence will certainly predict how skillfully you can direct the energy that is occurring inside of you and, you know, act again skillfully, productively, or get sucked into the fray. So I like to do sort of a somatic body scan and to just notice when I am being activated in a really pronounced way. I like to bring my attention to those parts of my body. Where am I primarily experiencing this anxiety, fear, distress, anger? What is the quality of sensation? Again, you know, we're dealing with a kind of turbulent, passionate energy. It can feel sort of like electricity. It can feel hot. It can feel overwhelming at times. But if you can get really curious about the quality of sensation, is it moving? Is the movement quick or slow? Is it jagged and sharp? Is it languid and fluid? Is it heavy and stuck? These are the kinds of, this is the kind of sensory clarity that is helpful to bring to these sensations, just so you can know how that energy is driving your thoughts and actions. And sometimes just being with that sensation is a kind of active loving kindness. And sort of the first step in not projecting outward onto others what is occurring internally inside of ourselves. Because really, what Spirit is saying is that even in the midst of this kind of chaotic, turbulent energy, there is the possibility to come together in collaborative effort in order to reorient ourselves personally, collectively, towards a kind of higher good. I mean, that's really showing up here quite clearly in terms of ace energy. Aces are like the highest octave of an energy. It's like getting a divine download from the universe. And pentacles represent the material world, material resources that we need in order to thrive, our health, our bodies, the earth itself. They are an earth element. And again, there's this beautiful representational energy of being given a gift, being able to receive this gift and put it to good use, make good use of it. Cups, of course, are love, emotions, intuition. Again, this great gift of the heart that is being presented to us, that is arising out of these turbulent times. And if we are willing to, again, it's not about spiritual bypassing by all means. We need to acknowledge the intensity of these times. But then we also need to deliberately orient ourselves towards what we imagine to be a better world. And, I'm thinking in terms of, just what we witnessed happening in Nepal, how, revolution caught on fire like that. Like, the people set the parliamentary building on fire because they were at their wits' end with the corruption of the people in charge. And they just dismantled that system. And this is the kind of energy, of course, that, that ignition of energy in order to dismantle old systems. But it is not, I'm going to quote my mentor, Dan Brown now, it is not enough to identify and eliminate negative mind states. We must replace them with something else. And so this is the thing. And in fact, if you go back to what happened during the Arab Spring, similarly, people came together and collectively dismantled the old system, but an equally corrupt regime came in and replaced it because it's not enough. You can't tear down the system and not replace it with something better, or else you've left a vacuum and it will be filled by people, institutions who are at the ready to take advantage of that vacuum. The universe abhors a vacuum. And so how can we vision a better world, one that meets the needs collectively of all living beings, one that is motivated by compassion and love of all living beings? And how can we come together collectively to put that together piece by piece in a deliberate way, acting collaboratively in cooperation with one another? This is really what is being represented here by the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. In order to produce a world that meets the needs of all living beings, we have to come together and create this world together in an equilateral way. In order to produce a world that is motivated by love and care and humanitarian aid, we have to come together. We have to unify our hearts collectively for the good of all of us, not just the select few, all of us. And that Spirit is saying that this is a time where we can take advantage of the turbulence in order to vision something new and take collective action. And what's going to be really important, again, is for us to notice what our own internal unconscious motivation is and to get right within ourselves, to come from a place of balance. You can think of the High Priestess as a kind of intuitive knowing. And, she is sort of, she's sort of a Western representative of the Tao, of the yin and yang. Has a balanced presentation of masculine and feminine energy. She is able to assert herself out in the world. She is able to be still and internally reflect. She is able to pivot between these two energies without getting stuck in one extreme or the other. And that this is the source of her wisdom, of her deep knowing. And it is a felt sense of the body. It is a felt sense, this knowing. It is not entirely about thinking. In fact, what strength is telling us is that when we are worshiping our thoughts as though that's the ultimate truth, that is when we tend to get into trouble. It is necessary for us to practice discernment because not everything your head tells you is helpful or true. So strength is about taming the beast within. It's mastering the mind so that the mind doesn't master you. And it's disidentifying from your thoughts as though they're you. You are the witness of what is happening in mental talk space. You are standing at the center of awareness. And in doing so, you can ask yourself, well, is that thought helpful? Is that true? Is that something that I need to take action on immediately? And you're in this moment of witnessing rather than reacting automatically from this place of discombobulation, which likely will not contribute to the mindful creation of a better world. Again, we do have to tend to this. This is not something that can be ignored. But in order to make good use of the energies of this time, we have to be centered and we have to be mindful and we have to be internally reflective in order to take action out in the world that is in alignment with the good of all people. And then finally, look, the Three of Wands is just reminding us that this is not going to be like what the things that are happening right now, these intense changes that are unfolding before our very eyes. The ripple effect is something that's going to play out over an extended period of time. This guy is the merchant marine. He's sending his ships off to sea. And when those vessels disappear below the horizon, he has to trust that his ships are going to come in. It's not an overnight thing. You don't go out to the harbor the very next day and go, well, where's my ships? I sent them out yesterday. How come they're not here yet? We have to have faith and patience. We have to stay the course. The Three of Wands urges us to not quit before the miracle happens. And so it is important for us, even when, everything looks despairing, to hold steady to our vision of what it is that we wish to see out in the world, and to continue to allow that to be the guiding light. We have to continue to show up because we're not going to see instantaneous results. We're going to take actions that will have real world consequences, but it may not be something that, we get confirmation on, the effectiveness of the actions that we're taking. It may take time to build momentum. So you can think of it as like planting seeds in the garden, right? The seed is underground and it takes time to germinate, to push its way above soil. And here we are at the surface. We can't see what's happening below the level of the sea. We have to trust that if we do our part, if we water the soil and we pull the weeds and we add in the fertilizer, if we are doing our part, that little seed is doing its part until one day it is evident. We can see the fruits of our labor. So again, don't quit before the miracle happens. And do your inner work in order to be grounded, in order to maintain a mental and emotional balance, and to continue to vision a world, an equitable, cooperative world that meets the needs physically and emotionally of all who occupy this planet. So that is my message to all of us, all of you, on this coming new moon solar eclipse. And I wish you many blessings.